All right, welcome to Module 6. We made it. And the question that I want to start this module with is, after working on this social media marketing plan, who's going to run it? Here's what happens a lot, and I've seen it with clients, and I've seen it happen in agencies, and I've seen it happen with students. You build a really solid social media marketing plan. It has good research, clear goals, and smart platform choices. And then it lands on somebody's desk, and nobody knows whose job it is. Is it marketing? Is it communications? Is it the intern? Does the owner of a small business just squeeze it in between everything else they're handling? So Chapter 13 answers that question. And Chapter 14, which connects directly to your final project, shows you how that finished social media marketing plan actually comes together. So today is part strategy and part practical. We're going to talk about how social media gets organized inside a real business and what jobs actually exist in the field. And then we'll walk through the structure of the final project so you can cross this finish line really strong. All right, so Chapter 13 starts out with a 10-step framework for managing social media in an organization. And now some of these steps we've already covered in previous modules, setting goals, building the content and platform strategy, establishing metrics for measuring the success of what you're doing. And today I want to focus on the three that are most directly relevant to how social media actually gets staffed and run inside a company. So getting executive support, assessing the organization, and building a team. So step one is that getting executive support. And this one might sound like corporate politics, but it has real practical consequences. The test book asks a set of questions that are genuinely useful. And that is there a shared vision for social media in the organization? Are there actual resources to implement it? And is senior management willing to contribute content? Here's how that looks in practice. I've worked on campaigns where leadership was enthusiastic and involved. They would share content, they would show up for photos, they would amplify posts. And I've worked on campaigns where the person running social media was operating completely with no budget, no buy-in, and no visibility into what the company's bigger goals even were. And that output looks significantly different. So for your final marketing plan, we didn't address this, but typically if you were in an organization where it wasn't clearly known, you would want to have recommendations as part of what the organizational structure is going to look like. Who is going to be in charge and take responsibility and ownership for these different components? All right, so Chapter 13 also covers 4 main structures for how companies organize their social media function. And those are informal, hierarchical, independent, and hybrid. So informal is probably what most small businesses start with. Somebody just handles it. Hierarchical means that there's a centralized team and decisions flow from the top. Independent means that social media operates separately from other marketing functions, and hybrid is exactly what it sounds like, a combination that fits the organization's size and culture. For most of the business types you've chosen, an independent coffee shop, a local boutique, a food and beverage experience, the honest answer is probably informal to start with, moving towards maybe a hybrid situation or independent until they really are growing and have the capacity to hire somebody internally to handle all of that. So this is where you could have a position in social media and marketing where you wear a lot of multiple hats, not just doing one small thing. But you also have the opportunity to hire an agency who maybe they would cover all of your design and scheduling for your posts, and you just supply them with imagery and some direction for what you want, but they handle all of the heavy lifting for making it happen. All right, so Chapter 13 does a good job of laying out kind of some structure of job titles in social media marketing, all the way from interns and assistants at the entry level through coordinators, specialists, community managers, directors, all the way to the VP of social media or chief communications officer. And here's what I want you to hear. The jobs at the bottom of the ladder are genuinely accessible. A social media assistant, a social media marketing intern, coordinator, these are entry-level titles that companies hire for. And the qualifications they're looking for are usually someone who knows just how to use the platform and the tools. So when you bring in this understanding of an underlying strategy that informs what you're doing, you are really going to put yourself in a position to be promoted and hired to handle more and more than what you're doing. The really useful thing about this final project too is that if you were applying to a local agency or small business here locally, you would be able to use this work that you've done to build some samples of professional work. It would show, like, I know how to completely build a social media marketing plan that starts in the understanding of the business and the strategy and the goals that it has set. All right, so chapter 14 is useful. It goes over a social media marketing plan, and it maps out almost directly the similarity to what your final project structure is. The chapter defines a social media marketing plan as the foundation of social media marketing, starting with the market, listening to the competition, setting well-defined goals that drive your platform and content decisions, and then monitoring, evaluating, and adjusting. That is the arc of this social media marketing plan. And every section you've been building across this course feeds into that. Your module one business overview, your module 2 audience persona, your module 5 competitor audit. None of those were standalone assignments. They were the first drafts to put into this final project in the sections. So if you look in this module, there is a whole folder that has 3 documents you will find very useful. One is the project guidelines that give you everything I'm looking for in this final project. Secondly, I have given you a template. So the template has all the headings, the structure already set up that you can just use, delete the instructions, and fill in your work. You also have the opportunity to create your own document if you want to. You just need to make sure that you have all the headings and subheaders that are in the template that I have given you. The third is that I've given you a sample plan. Now I purposely picked a business that is not in one of the 3 that you can pick, but it gives you an idea of what I'm looking for in that final finished project. I did also want to tell you that part of the submission does require some visual elements, and that is why I had you create a free Canva account. And I want you to know that all the visuals that are in that sample plan were created with a free Canva account. You should not have to pay for any of it. So remember, there's 4 pieces. There's 2 Facebook ads and 2 Instagram ads, and all of these were created with the free account. You don't need to buy anything. The free tier, it has templates and formats for all of those, so you can click in the templates and it will give you the correct size for those platforms. And the point is not to produce necessarily agency level creative. If you see what I have in the sample plan is not professional looking, but the point is to show you that you understand the difference between an ad and an organic post, that you can apply your brand voice visually, and that your content connects to the strategy you're written. So I'm not grading this as a graphic design assignment. This is just an integration of the strategy and planning you've done. I also want to remind you that you are allowed to use AI in this plan. And I really have been trying to get you to see the difference between really good use of AI and sloppy work with AI. So that difference matters. AI is so helpful for brainstorming and hashtag ideas and the content pillars, but you need to be that last human touch of editing. If you don't apply that last editing bit and refine what it's giving you, it looks just generic and computer. So that makes a big difference. But I want you to use AI because in any job that you would have in marketing, in any agency work or business, you would be implementing AI use with these tasks that you're doing. And in fact, you'll be finding most platforms are integrating some sort of AI into their platform directly without having to use an outside usage of it. So to wrap that up, think of AI as a starting point and not a finishing line. And think of it as a thinking partner, but the judgment is still yours. It's an assistant. All right, so all that is due this week is this final project. That is all you will be turning in, and you will have the opportunity to spend some time reviewing anything in the Hootsuite Academy. There's no new learning that you have assigned, but next module will be those platform exams. Let me just end with a few things that really set apart strong final projects. The first thing is that they're not vague. They have really specific information, real competitors. They connect the sections back to those main goals. Those SMART goals should be such that you can measure them, they have timelines, and you can connect back to those. Use Canva strategically. Make sure that you're matching the brand aesthetic to what you say it will look like. And remember, the executive summary is done last. It's a summary of everything that you've created, written last, even though it comes first. And do not forget to cite your sources. You should have some sources for audience data or competitor analysis, and those go at the end. Make sure that you are not missing those. The weakest projects are ones that don't have all the sections. They're not listed correctly. They're not headings or subheadings. The competitive analysis is weak. I can tell it's not based in any real research. So those are all the pieces, have the building blocks. I look forward to seeing all of your final projects. Please reach out before the deadline if you have questions or need assistance. I'm here with office hours. Stop by, have a Google Meet set up, and I can go over anything that you're struggling on or need help with.